Creating a campaign and budget settings. Once you've created a Google AdWords account, you're going to land inside Google Ads that looks something like this. If for any reason you want to return to the previous version of Google AdWords, you can click on the settings button here on the top right, and you can say return to previous AdWords. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with your campaign settings. In the left-hand panel here under all campaigns, you're going to make sure that you click on the campaigns tab, which is going to show nothing, and you're going to click on new campaign. Once you've reached this page, you'll see a number of options in front of you. And what we're going to be creating today is a basic search network campaign that you can use for yourself or for your clients. Now, it'll ask you here what kind of goal you have in mind with creating your campaign. Now, sales would be more likely something towards an e-commerce website where you're selling actual products or services. Leads is for a different purpose, but what we're most importantly looking for right now is website traffic, because an increase in website traffic is going to lead to an increase in sales. And this is a very basic campaign, like I said. So you want to click on website traffic. Let's set up the details, and we're going to paste our business's website. I'm just going to go ahead to our website that we've created, and I'm going to paste in the URL here and click continue. Next up, let's give our campaign a name. In this case, I'm just going to call this Awesome Industries. And next up is the networks. It's going to offer you two options, the search network and the display network. Now, the most important one here is the search network so that we can create search ads. But it gives you an option here for add display network, and you'll want to click yes, because this is going to show your text ads on the display network on Google partner websites without you having to actually do anything. It increases your clicks and it actually increases your effectiveness. Scrolling down, let's work on locations. Now you'll see that it gives you some existing options as well, and as you know, I am doing this from South Africa, so it's automatically going to give me that. I can also target all countries and territories if I want, South Africa as a country, or I can click enter another location and I can specify which location. Like, for example, the city that I'm in is Pretoria, which is in the province of Gauteng, South Africa. It shows me the amount of people and the amount of reach I will have in this area, as you can see with the others. And if I click that, I can add so that we're just targeting Pretoria, not the whole country. Because let's say, for example, I only do deliveries within Pretoria. That's who I want to target, so that's where I want. Now, let's say, for example, there's a part of Pretoria that I actually want to exclude. And this is quite cool because you can enter a second location. I'm just going to type in Pretoria to bring up some options again. And you'll see that there's some different areas here that I recognize as part of Pretoria. Now, let's say we want to take Silverton, but I want to exclude this. I can just hit the exclude button. And that is now going to target the whole of Pretoria, but it's going to exclude that neighborhood or that section completely, which is pretty neat. And I'm going to stick with that right now because we're going to target Pretoria and I'm going to exclude Silverton. Up next, it's going to give you some options for the languages that you want to target. I'm just going to go for English, but if you just click here and start typing, it gives you a whole bunch of options that you can look through and add to. Now, most importantly is the bidding strategy that you're going to choose for your campaign. Now, if you click on this drop down here, you're going to see a lot of options. Now, first things first, don't let this intimidate you or don't stress about this. Like I said in the previous video, it will be important for you to go and do your actual Google certification so that you can understand exactly what each one of these do. But for the time being, you're just going to click on maximize clicks. And what that is an automated bidding system that is going to maximize the amount of clicks that you get within your budget. It's a simple bidding system, and like I said, it is automated. It's not perfect, but it does yield some very good results, and it's a good place to start. Now, what you'll want to do is the next step, you'll see maximum CPC bid limit. CPC obviously stands for cost per click bid limit. So you want to set the maximum amount that someone can spend or how much your campaign will spend on one single click. Now, just for example, right now, I'm just going to put in 10 Rand, 10 South African Rand as the bid limit. And do not worry, you can always come back to these settings anytime you want and adjust these as you need. All right, now moving down, we're going to set the daily budget. Now, let's say, for example, that yourself or the client that you're working with has given you a budget to work with for a month. Now, let's say it was 5,000 Rand. Now, you're not going to set 5,000 Rand here because this is your daily budget. I'm going to show you, if we just copy this out, how we're going to work out what the daily budget is. I'm just going to bring up my calculator. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the budget that you're going to be using over a month, which is say 5,000 Rand, and you're going to divide that by 30.4, which is the average number of days in a month throughout the year. And that number that it gives you at the end is going to be your daily budget. I always just round this down to make it a little bit easier. So in this case, it's 164. So 164 Rand is going to be used every day towards your campaign. And when that 164 Rand is up, your ads will stop showing and it will restart again the next day with the new budget. Pretty simple. So next up, we've got start and end dates. And for example, this is going to start today, which is the day I'm working on this. And the date for the end is not set. You can leave it like that because it's going to run. But now that you know these options here, it's quite cool because you can just run a campaign for a single week, for a month. It's up to you. It's nice that we've got the options. Next up, you're going to see site link extensions, call out extensions, and call extensions. These are going to be things that we're going to add on later on, and you don't need to worry about right now. You can hit save and continue. Next up, you're going to see options for adding ad groups. Now, you can go through this automated process if you want to add groups and add keywords. This is kind of like a tutorial builder that AdWords will take you through. But for the sake of this tutorial and the way that I always go about it, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to say cancel. Now, I'm just canceling the ad groups, not the campaign. And I'm just going to say yes, leave. Now, what that's done, if you go to overview, you will see that on the left-hand side, we have created a campaign called Awesome Industries. But in the ad groups, we don't have any ad groups yet. And also the next important in line is keywords. We don't have any of that. And that's what we're going to do next.